Yo, what's going on, your boy Ghost here, and today I am bringing you guys another comparison video between the again nerfed AUG and the M16. If you guys weren't aware, on Tuesday they released a kind of like a hotfix slash patch, I guess. Like it was like just a random patch that they made, and in that patch they again nerfed the AUG. They increased the recoil again, and to be honest, it's still a really good weapon, but there's been a lot of conversation on whether or not it's still the best burst in the game. I've seen a lot of people bring up the fact that the M16 is now the best burst, and I've seen a lot more people switch over to the M16. And in today's video, we're going to be covering what exactly the M16 has over the AUG and what the AUG still has over the M16. Because honestly, I have a strong opinion against M16, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But before we get into that, man, I want to say if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. We're on the road to 2K. If you find this video informative or useful, hit that like button, and yeah, let's get into the video. And here we have the recoil pattern for the again nerfed AUG. And now this recoil is a lot more noticeable than the last update. If you guys are familiar, or at least saw my last video with the nerfed AUG versus the AUG, you would see that the recoil from that nerf to the original AUG was there, but it wasn't that crazy. This nerf, the recoil is definitely there, or at least, well, as you guys can see in the base one, it's definitely there now. And when I was using my original AUG class, my old class setup with the strike team barrel, I definitely noticed the recoil. I saw that at range it was a lot harder to hit my shots, and it felt less effective at range. But I made a minor adjustment to my class setup, and I again had that old AUG feeling. And basically what I did is I switched over to the titanium barrel. I know a lot of people were saying just to switch to the titanium barrel during the last update, but I didn't switch over because the strike team barrel still felt really good. But now with this update, I didn't really mess with it, so I decided to try something else. I decided to try the titanium barrel, and it worked wonders, and it really felt like the old AUG. And I saw a lot of people kind of turn their back on the AUG when the update happened. Some people were still saying that, oh, where's the nerf at, blah blah blah. But I saw a lot of people switch over to the M16, which kind of surprised me because I don't know, I just don't see the M16 as being better as the AUG currently. Because the problem is with the AUG, it isn't the recoil, it isn't any of that. It's literally the fire rate and damage. And they don't fix that. They don't nerf that. They keep having the same damage, the same fire rate, but all they do is add a little bit more recoil, which could be negated by the multi-zoom, or just changing the barrel and just slightly pushing down on your right analog a little bit, just a little bit more, and you're good. Doesn't really matter. Or you can just mount and kill people on range. See, the thing about the AUG is that it has more damage than the M16, right? And to be honest, if you're going to still suffer at range from the M16, you might as well use a gun that's going to be able to get it done at those long ranges. I've used the M16, and I've seen the M16 be used a lot in long range combat, and it's just inconsistent. Not only does it get weaker, but sometimes the bullet doesn't even get there, and so you're just shooting marshmallows across the map. The AUG doesn't have that because it has more range than the M16. A significant amount too, and you can still 2-burst, 3-burst people from long ranges. When the M16, you're sitting here 4-bursting people and they're still not dead. Yes, the M16 has less recoil, and that's the one thing that it has that I know for a fact that it has. It's more like if you can't control recoil, the M16 is probably the gun for you. But if you're capable of controlling the recoil, then the AUG still should be the gun that you use. Or not should use, but I mean, if you're going to use a burst weapon, the AUG is the one that you use if you control recoil. I'm not trying to advocate for AUG usage because I want this gun gone. But I mean, if they're not changing the appropriate things, there's no point of switching weapons, because I don't know, they're just not doing a correct job of these patches. They are messing up entirely, and it's annoying because this AUG should have been gone a long time ago. But they don't know what they're doing. They're just sitting here nerfing irrelevant things, and the gun is still amazing. It's mind-blowing. But anyways, I don't know, man. I just been seeing a lot of people just disregard the AUG, oddly enough, when the M16 isn't that much better, or better at all. Don't get me wrong. I like the M16 a lot, and I make that as the M16 is an example of how the AUG should be, because it's a balanced burst weapon. The M16 isn't ridiculous. Or it could get a little ridiculous depending on how you look at it. We'll get into that in a little bit, but the AUG is just stupid. It's just, you can't react, you die quickly, and it shouldn't be in the game. Or, I mean, okay, let me backtrack. The current state of the AUG shouldn't be in the game. It should be slightly reduced because it's getting ridiculous. Nobody likes this meta, bro. If you like this meta, you're weird. But I mean, we're here. We're stuck here, and it sucks. But with that being said, man, let's get into the M16. And then we have the recoil pattern for the M16, which as you're gonna see, complete difference from the AUG. Just look at the complete difference here, man. On the left, you guys see the AUG recoil pattern. On the right, you see the M16 recoil pattern. And my God, it's a huge difference. And funny thing about my class setup with the M16 is the changes that I made to my M16 class setup are the opposite of what I did to the AUG. So I went from the titanium barrel on the M16 to the strike team barrel, and then for the AUG, I went from the strike team to the titanium. So I basically switched barrels for both weapons, and that's because for some weird reason the titanium barrel on my M16 felt like I was shooting marshmallows. I don't know what it was, but there was instances where it just seemed like my M16 was useless. And then I switched to my barrel, and all of a sudden I was starting to do a lot better. Maybe a placebo effect. I don't got statistics for all that, but that's just how I feel. The titanium barrel probably is the best barrel for the M16. I don't know. Give me your thoughts on that. It might be, but I just didn't feel like it was. But obviously, the M16, the one biggest thing that it has better than the AUG is the recoil. This gun essentially just doesn't have that much kick, and it's more ideal for, I guess, people that want to use burst weapons are in this state right now, because the AUG is a lot more harder to control, I guess. And I kind of understand it, but to be honest, like, for me, the AUG isn't that bad. Like, to be honest, it really feels the same as it was once before. Maybe it's slightly more recoil, but I mean, the AUG has always had recoil. And funny enough, back when I actually began using M16 or the AUG, this wasn't even before the meta came, I always preferred the M16 over the AUG. I was like, the M16 is just so much better. It's so much more accurate. It's just like, you know, like I don't want to use an AUG, but now that, you know, the AUG is the king. And now people are trying to say that the M16 is the king, which is not true. I gotta be honest with you, like, maybe it's personal opinion, personal preference, which again, personal preference is by far the most important thing when it comes to weapon usage and all that. I don't forget stats, forget any of that. Personal preference and how it feels in your hands is by far the most important thing and the only thing that matters when you're building a class setup. Obviously, like, you know, if you're using a gun, you want to use the best possible class setup, but sometimes that might not even be the class setup for you. It's all about how it feels in your hand. And back then, the M16 felt a lot better on my hands than the AUG. And even though I'm pretty sure the AUG, before it went into meta, it was obviously better than the M16. But I just couldn't mess with it. I just couldn't mess with it. And now with the new patch or update or whatever, people are saying the M16 is the meta. And, you know, I would love for it to be meta over the M16 because, again, it's, to me, the M16 is the ideal way of how the burst should be in the game. I mean, there are instances of the M16 being pretty, you know, 2-3 bursts, but I feel like those 2-3 bursts are a little bit more inconsistent than the AUG. Like, I feel like the AUG, like, let's say the AUG is 7 out of 10, I'm going to 2-burst somebody. And then for the M16, it's like 4, 5, 3 out of 10. You know, more than likely, especially at even the longer range, I'm going to be 3, 4 bursting people, which is great. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to be able to kill quickly with my burst, but at the same time, it shouldn't be too weak. Just like, I feel like the M16 is like that fine line in between it being, for me, it being weak and being too powerful. It's right there. It's where it should be. The AUG goes more to the right side where it's too overpowered, too much power. The M16 is just, it's the gun. It's the gun, in my opinion, that they should have molded the AUG after. Or, yeah, the M16 should be like just the blueprint. Should be the gun that these developers are like, okay, this is how we should implement burst weapons in. That's how they should have done it, but unfortunately, they didn't. They made the AUG stupid broken, and they're trying to put out these pathetic nerfs to nerf the weapon or make it worse, but in reality, it's just the same. And look, man, I know a lot of people out there, you've already seen gameplay, you've already seen most streamers and YouTubers and whatever, they're like, oh, where's the nerf at? Where's the nerf at? Like, yeah, there is some people that have tried to make the switch to the M16, but if you can do it, if you can pull off, I guess, even though it's not that bad, but if you can pull it off, man, the AUG is definitely the way to go. Not even just like, I mean, realistically, if you have the ability to control the AUG, which, in my opinion, it reminds me of the AMAX. Like, I guess now I feel like the AUG is the AMAX, but a little bit easier, I guess, because the AMAX does require a little bit more skill to control. So that's why it's not like fully meta, because it's not an easy gun to use for everybody. The AUG, I still think, is more. It's much easier, much more convenient for those casual players than just any gun. And I know, like, the M16, theoretically, with its no recoil or low recoil, like, it's, like, more suitable for those type of players. But, I mean, dude, like, The AUG just has the damage. You can't go wrong with the damage, and the recoil isn't that bad. Like, it's just not that bad. But, you know, I don't know. People are gonna say what they want. Personally, again, I like the AUG over the M16. Not that because I want to, but I mean, look, if we're in this burst meta, bro, like, I'm not finna put myself at a disadvantage because I want to think that the M16 is better. Because in reality, it's not. It's just not. Maybe to some of you guys it is, given certain situations, certain things that you can and can't do. But I don't know, man. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about this. What do you guys think is the best burst weapon right now? And, yeah. Thank you so much. See you guys later. Peace.